Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Distance Learning. I'm going to walk you through the first assignment, what we're doing, how we're doing it. It's kind of a repeat of what we did last week or the week before Thanksgiving, but it is rational exponents, where we're taking something to a power, but it's actually the roots where we're undoing. So, just to review, if I have the square root of 25, right? What I'm asking is what number times itself gives me 25? Well, 5 times 5 is 25, so the answer to the square root of 25 is 5. Okay? Pretty simple. Now, what we're actually doing today is we're actually going to write this as an exponent. Hopefully you understand this concept. Anytime I have a square root, I'm looking for a number multiplying by itself 2 times that gives me the number that's inside the square root. Okay, now, what we need to understand is when I have the square root, this is actually a fractional exponent. What I mean by that is, remember, if we have 5 squared, that is 25, right? So what I'm actually doing to get this is 25 to the 1/2 power. I'm just going backwards. Would equal 5. Okay? So anytime I have a root, I'm raising it to the fractional power. Now, with a square root, there's an understood 2 written right here. Okay, so that's why the denominator is 2 here, because it's to the 1/2 power. I'm taking the 1/2 exponent of 25, and that is 5, because 5 squared is 25. So it's basically I'm just doing it upside down or doing it backwards. Okay, so let's look at another one. If I have, let's say I have the cubed root of 8. You'll see I have a number 3 here, which means I'm looking for a number that multiplies times itself 3 times in order to get this number that's underneath here. Okay, and I can rewrite this as a fractional exponent. This is the same thing as this. The cubed root of 8 is the same as 8 to the 1/3 power. All I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, I'm looking for the number multiplied times itself 3 times that gives me 8. And 2 times 2 is 4, and then 4 times 2 is 8. So the cubed root of 8 is 2, because 2 times 2 times 2, 2 multiplied by itself 3 times, gives me 8. So all I'm doing with these fractional exponents is I'm undoing an exponent that I learned about earlier. So because 2 cubed is 8, 8 to the 1/3 power is 2. It just goes back and forth. Now, there are some problems on your worksheet that have another number other than 1 in the numerator. I want to talk about what that looks like. If I have, well, let's just do one of the problems on here. Let's jump down to number 7. Let's do number 7. I have the 6th root of 64 raised to the 5th power. Okay, so I have an exponent inside my radical. That's what this is known, and it's the 6th root. So basically, I'm trying to figure out what number multiplies times itself 6 times, gives me 64, but also I'm going to take that to the 5th power. Okay, now I can rewrite this as a fractional exponent, which is what number 7 is asking for, by just rewriting this 64. Now earlier I did to the 1/6 power, but the difference here is I have an exponent inside the radical. So all that changes is that exponent becomes my numerator of my fraction. So if I have a number raised to a power inside of a radical, I use the number that's outside the radical as the denominator, and the number inside the radical as the numerator, or the top of the fraction. So the number outside is the bottom of the fraction. The number inside is the top of the fraction. Now, I'll go ahead and simplify this one because the next several problems ask you to simplify problems like this. Now, I always like to do the root first if I can, because when I take a root, it makes it a smaller number, and I always like to have smaller numbers, because if I do it the other way, I have to do 64 times 64 5 times, and then I'm going to have to figure out what number times itself 6 times gives me that gigantic number. I don't know that. I would have to have a calculator to do that. However, I can do this. What number times itself 6 times would give me 64? Well, 64 is not that big of a number, and it's even, so I'm going to assume that it's probably going to be 2. Let's check it out. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 6 times. Let's see what it is. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. So sure enough, the 6th root of 64 is 2. So if I simplify that, I've gotten rid of this. That's the same as 2. But I didn't get rid of my 5th power. So I have 2 to the 5th. I took the 6th root, I took the denominator, but I didn't do anything with this just yet. Now I've already done this. 5 of these 2's ended up being 32, so 2 to the 5th power is 32. So 64 to the 5/6 power, or the 6th root of 64 to the 5th power, is just 32. That's how you simplify these. So if you can, take the root of them first, figure out what number times itself this many times, and then if you have an exponent inside there, then you can multiply that back out to give you your answer. And that'll help you do numbers 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay? The word problems are just writing down the exponent, the equations, and going back and forth between fractional exponents and those kinds of things. You can use a calculator for those. Numbers 9, 10, and 11. All we're doing, that's going back and reviewing the properties. So when I multiply them, that's when I add the exponents. When I divide them, I subtract the exponents. And when I take a power to a power, I multiply those numbers, those exponents, to get me my answer. So that's how you'll do those. That's what we did before Thanksgiving break. So that should explain all of the problems. If you have any questions, jump on to the Google Meet. There'll be one today, Tuesday. I'm posting this video on Tuesday. First hour will be at about 8:45, and then third hour will be around 11:15, 11:20. So if you have any questions, I'll also be on Google Meet on Thursday at the same time. So if you're in first hour, hop on. It'll be on the agenda. Hop on Oasis, click on that Google Meet, and then ask all the questions you have. I'll have my stuff out so I can show you on the computer or on the Google Meet. So I can answer any of your questions, or just email me and I'll answer the best I can. All right? Hope you guys are having a great time at home. Hopefully you're logging on and getting your information and getting all this stuff done. Appreciate you guys. Stay safe, stay good, stay away from COVID.